when I would say that I'm from Russia to like friends or peers and like in a more informal setting, there will always be these jokes about, I don't know, comrades or vodka and bears and blah, like all this. Like in my first year it was kind of funny, but then like after on the second, third, fourth year living abroad, it gets really annoying. Like you know, I understand that the person is trying to make some sort of small talk, but I don't think constructing a small talk around stereotypes of other person's nationality is the best strategy to have a lovely small talk. Before coming to Turkey, I was living in Moscow. I was born in Moscow, so I lived there my whole life. I graduated high school, then I went to study in a university. It was 2014, and I studied financial management for 1 year. Mid-academic year, I realized that it's not really my thing, so I was looking for some other options. I was always a little bit curious about studying abroad and stuff, but to be honest, there are like some like very popular options such as England or I don't know, US or something, but that seemed a little bit out of my budget, and that's when I learned about the Bilkent University, and I got curious about the program and the opportunities I had at that university. So my last 6 months in university I spent preparing for exams like SAT and IELTS to apply for Bilkent. I was always a little curious about the culture. I was thinking about learning Turkish, so it was. I think it was all meant to be. And I'm from Moscow, but I'm originally Azerbaijani. My parents are Azeri, so in Azerbaijan, this university is a lot more popular than in Russia. So my family from Azerbaijan recommended me this place, and I checked it out, and I liked what I saw. For me, it was actually easier than to study in my own country, because in Russia the competition to study in a university is insane. And in Bilkent, since I'm a foreigner and I did quite well on my admission exams, I was studying for free. Even though it is considered a fancy thing to do it, I was actually a lucky one, so it wasn't too much for me. I came to Ankara for the first time in August 2015. Like, of course, like I've been to other cities before, and like I traveled to some other places, but in Turkey I've been mostly to Istanbul before and to some resort cities like, I don't know, Bodrum, Alaçatı, this kind of stuff. I didn't really know how like just a city in Turkey would look like, so I was surprised to see Ankara. And but yeah, that's when I came to Turkey. I think one of the hardest things for me was to, of course, to adapt to a completely new place, but mainly the language barrier. Like, it was killing me. It was very difficult because it really limited my ability to bond with people, because in Turkey, students, even in Bilkent, they weren't really eager to speak English all the time, and that was a problem. And especially in my first year, it would break my heart that, like, for example, some of my Turkish classmates, they would invite me for drinks or something, and I would agree, and I would think that, like, we all know that I don't speak Turkish, but I would come to we would come to a place and we would speak English for a bit, and then everyone would just switch to Turkish. I understand, but at the same time, it was like it's not very nice. So yeah, it was frustrating for me. But from the ups, I remember in my first year we had a school trip to, I think, Antalya or something, and I thought it was so amazing that you can take a bus like in a few hours, not a few, but let's say in 10 hours, you're gonna be by the sea, and it's gonna be an amazing sea, because Russia is huge. We can't do that. Like, if you take a bus, you're just gonna be somewhere in the middle of Russia, in the forests and stuff, but not by the sea. Sometimes, yes, I would get some really wrong prejudgments about Russia, and I would get asked a lot of funny questions. And actually, it wouldn't happen, like, it would happen in Turkey, but not with Turkish people, but like Westerners, I would say, from Western Europe and like that part. Like, they would see Russia as this like super underdeveloped, struggling place with like no technology, no progress and stuff. And 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 every time when I would say no, that's not true. Like we don't live like barbarians at all. Like they'd be, oh really? I had no idea. And yeah, like that's a bit weird because I mean, come on, like 21st century. But for me, I didn't really have like since I've been to Turkey before, and because of my Azeri background, I didn't really have a lot of prejudgments or something. I really like I was really excited, but the only thing I had to watch out about was the Russian girl kind of thing. So I knew I had to watch out about this. A few times there were moments when I would be talking with my friend in Russian, for example, and like some people on the street would hear it, and they would start catcalling us and like I don't know, saying some weird stuff. But then we would just turn to Turkish and curse them in Turkish, and then they would get scared and just run away. So that usually helped. But yeah, like you have to, sometimes you gotta watch out for this kind of stuff. Like, thank God I was lucky it never got out of hand. When I would say that I'm from Russia to like friends or peers and like in a more informal setting, there will always be these jokes about, I don't know, comrades or vodka and bears and like all this. Like in my first year, it was kind of funny, but then like after on the second, third, fourth year living abroad, it gets really annoying. Like, you know, I understand that the person is trying to make some sort of small talk, but I don't think constructing a small talk around stereotypes of other person's nationality is the best strategy to have a lovely small talk. That's what I think. Life is a lot more comfortable in Moscow than in Ankara. I would say service-wise. So in general, most of the things in Moscow are available 24/7. So if you want to get a haircut at 2 in the morning, there's going to be a person who's going to give you this haircut at 2 in the morning. And this kind of stuff. I don't know, like pharmacies are almost always 24/7. And like in this kind of sense, like it's much more easy. It's a bit more easy to live in Moscow. And also, the reason I think behind this is we have a lot of immigrants in Moscow. It's mostly from post-Soviet countries, Middle Asia, places like that. So unfortunately, their labor is not being paid very well. As far as I know, official statistics that there is around 20% of the population is beyond the poverty line. But I think in reality it's more. Like, unfortunately, the gap between the rich and the poor is huge in Russia, and because of Moscow and like all those oligarchs and like super rich people, like the GDP seems okay, but it's really not. Like it's just these guys are helping it to push it up. And yeah, I think in Turkey it's the same. The gap is huge, so that's the sad thing about it. So yeah, there is middle class in Russia, of course, but it's mostly in the big cities. As the time went by, to be honest, I started liking Ankara less and less and less because unfortunately there were not that many things to do for young people there, and that was a major issue for me because there was really not that much to offer, and that was a bit frustrating for me. And also the food. I had an issue with food because of course I love Turkish cuisine. It's delicious. I love it. No doubt. But the thing is, it's mostly Turkish cuisine. It's always Turkish cuisine all the way. And even when you go to Chinese restaurants, it still tastes like Turkish food. And that was a bit too much for me. So I was graduating in 2019 in Bilkent, and of course, like as I was graduating, I was making some plans what to do, etc. And I did try to look for jobs. I didn't want to stay in Ankara, that's for sure. So I was thinking about maybe Istanbul, but the amount of responsibilities and tasks they were asking and the amount of money they were giving was ridiculous. Like you cannot live off with this money in Istanbul on your own, no way. It seemed like a very hard way to go through beginning of my adult life, so I just decided to take some time, recuperate, you know. To be honest, it's also not very easy in Moscow. You know, it's very difficult, but at least it's my swamp, you know. Like at least I have to struggle with my own people, like not with foreigners, because the competition for foreigners is even more fierce. Because if you're a foreigner working in Turkey, like the employer have to give extra tax, so it's difficult. So that's why I decided to go back. At the end, I started working in Turkish construction company because I had such a great diploma. But since it was a foreign diploma from Turkey, nobody was really impressed by it. But the Turkish company knew its worth. So that's why one thing led to the other. Currently, I'm a communication designer, and I'm still in Moscow. And I think I'm gonna stay here for a few more years to again build this experience and everything. But to be honest, I don't think I'm satisfied. Like, I don't think I'm ready to become a tree and put my roots in the ground, you know. So I want to travel more, and I really want to try to live in different places and in different cities, because I think it's fun. It's fun to adapt to a new place and to figure everything out and stuff. And to be honest, after the first time, it becomes easier. So it's not as scary as it was when I was just going to Turkey for the first time. So yeah.